Okie dokie rokie. Okay, guys. Hello, everyone. I wanted to jump on here and go live. This is not in the topic of discussion, you guys, but I felt the need to come here and share it. I had wanted to speak on this a while ago, and I've jumped around this particular topic as it relates to us being webcam models, spicy workers, and dating. And because something just happened to me earlier, at about 10 minutes ago, y'all, I said, let me jump on it. And so let's get into it. So I'm on a dating site. Won't tell you which one. I'm on a dating site and I am going back and forth with a few more than a few men, as you can imagine, right? And what has happened is, hold on, let me make sure you guys can hear me now. Testing, testing. I didn't have my microphone. Testing, testing. 1, 2, testing. Okay, we're here. Okay, so again, talking about dating and being a webcam model and or an online spicy worker, right, y'all? And keep in mind, I have gotten a lot of good goodies and advice from ChatGPT, who I call Stacy, and I got off the video chat with this guy, and I immediately went into talking to uh get immediately went into talking to Stacy about the situation, how it went down. But going back to what I said earlier. So I'm on this particular dating site talking to more than a few men. I know there's a lot of scams out there, people who want you to convert over to WhatsApp. Now, keep in mind, as a person who is in somewhat, I don't want to say dating scene really, but um, trying to decide. Let me see how I want to say this, you guys. Trying to decide, or not decide, but ensure that I don't put all men in the same category. How about that? That's what I try not to do. But time after time after time after time after time again, I don't know. At this point, I don't know. Of course, considering social media and everything, we hear about the gender wars and things of that nature, and men being this way and women being this way. I really don't want to make it about that. I just want to tell my little story and let that be that, but primarily geared at being a woman who's in the industry. And again, I have been in this business for over 16 years. And does that change? That's the first question. Does it really change how women see men overall, right? And the truth is this is that I don't I don't see. In fact, I've said this 1,001 times. Me being a webcam model has helped me tremendously, even in the most positive way, to understand that no, not all men maneuver the same. Yes, I do believe that all men want sex biologically. That's what they want from you. From you, that's what they're designed to want from you. I had to learn the very hard way. As many times I tried to friend zone and have friend zoned a man, there is probably no real such thing as a friend zone. He's just waiting his turn or playing the long game and all that good jazz. And I know that from personal experience, as I know known somebody for about 16 years, right? In fact, I met that person when I first started webcamming, and they stayed in the friend zone a little bit, right? So when I want to really just kind of talk about you guys, and I'll come back and talk about the difference between bedroom camming and sitting at a desk. I'm sitting on my bed, as you can tell. But anywho, so I say all that to say, so I'm on the dating site. I, chatting with guys, and they chatting back and forth. One of my biggest pet peeves is going over when the men, okay, I don't like texting. I really, really don't like texting because I am a double, triple, whatever, quadruple texter. So in a dating scene, I would rather hear the person's voice, tone, and all that, because I'm just telling you how it is, y'all. I can text somebody, or somebody can text me, and we can gather somewhat of a fantasy. I can gather a fantasy in my head. I'm an Aquarius, very idealistic. I can gather all that in my head, right? And in my mind, it starts to feel romantic. It starts to feel I'm a hopeless romantic, or that I'm extremely idealistic. So I can have these fantasies going in my head, like, a lot of women can. And so I'm listening or reading the text, and I can start feeling and thinking one way, and like, oh, and I see the picture, right? So for me, let me get on the phone, because we could do all that in text. And guess what? If you get on the phone and your voice is not A plus in the way that I think it ought to be, because I am very audio in that sense. I love a nice, pleasant voice. I say this all the time. Tone is everything to me. Articulation is everything to me. Intelligence is everything to me, even to the more shyer or laid back guy. But if I get you on the phone and you sound like you've been chomping on rocks or sleeping up under a rock, either or, and the energy is just off, then I can really make a decision from there, right? So I like men who have up tempo energy that shows genuine interest, or at least interest. Period. Right? How about that? So I say all that to say. So I'm on the phone, and we're talking, and I'm the one, I'm not even going to blame this guy. When we first get on, he asked to video chat. I often sense or see that as a red flag, and it is tied to because I'm a webcam model. When a man, right, when a man says that he wants to video chat with me immediately, or that's what he wants to do, or can we swap, or can we FaceTime, or whatever the case is, or can we do Google Meets, I immediately feel uncomfortable. And I feel uncomfortable for really, let me try to separate it from the business right quick. One, I would feel uncomfortable because I'm like, okay, no, it has to do with the business. I had to think, it didn't take me long to get there, y'all. It is about the business because I'm used to getting paid to video chat. It's just what it is. I'm used to getting paid, or the potential of getting paid, as I sit up and show my face to a man who is attracted or seemingly attracted to me, right? And so to me, it has to make sense, even though, again, I'm not getting paid right here at YouTube, right? While I'm doing this video, I'm not, well, I'm live. I'm sorry. I'm not getting paid right now. But the payment for me is the fact that I know that I'm helping somebody else. And if nobody else is getting helped, I know I'm getting the help, because I can always replay this back to me and be like, okay, Jay, what did you say in your live, right? So I can hold my own self accountable to the things that I want to stand by and the principles and standards that I wish to create for the duration of my life, right? And so with that being said, it's still beneficial. I am getting something out of the deal. So I get on the phone with this man. Yesterday we video chatted, and I noticed the first thing he says to me, which is not a bad thing, y'all. Keep this in mind. I'm not saying this to say that it makes men bad. But what he said was, "Oh my God, you are so pretty. You're so pretty. You're so pretty." After he said that, and then the conversation was pretty much, it became very surface level, kind of shallow, although we did have a lot of things in common in the conversation, if that makes sense. I heard him speak about certain things, certain topics, that I agreed with, so our value systems seemingly are lined up, right? There's some sense of commonality there. However, a man can have something in common with you or have common with me and still be a very lustful, perverted, if you will, man, and that's all he wants is just a good old time, a rumble in the stacks, right, and still have no substance to him. Just because, and that's what matters to me. Just because a man can keep up with me, even if he is articulate, even if he seems to be intelligent, it still will not take away the fact that, okay, he still could be a perv. He's and I'm using that word heavy, y'all, on purpose, right? He still could just be a lustful man, as he ought to be, just not with me, and especially not for free. I have to say it. And that's something that I'm working on. As a 49-year-old woman, I'm working on making sure that I don't feel bad about saying that I want something out the deal. And that, in that way, yes, the business did help me. But again, not necessarily monetarily. I'm not saying, if that's the case, in other words, I don't go into dating thinking, okay, how much money does this man have in the bank? What does he drive? What does he wear? I've never been one of them type of girls, and I don't think I'll ever be, because I really like having my own, and I don't expect anybody to share anything with me, because even if he has it, if my name is not on the lease or the contract, what's the point? Is it's still not mine. I don't want to be with a man and him taking me on a trip, which is nice, if you will, take me on a cruise, and that's beautiful, but not off the sense of, this is, in other words, it can't just be in other words, all of that is his, and that looks good as it relates to appearances. But because I'm a type of spirit woman, that I really like the idea of having my own, or being even to contribute, not necessarily put money back in his pockets, but being able to contribute in a way that I think is important. In other words, I'm just not that easily impressed by what a man has, so you can't really get me there. But moving forward, so today, okay, so yesterday we video chat. He's complimenting me. He asked if he could see the rest of my body. I kind of hinted to him that wasn't going to happen, and it didn't happen, right? So I get on and I'm talking to him today. So I'm like, hey, let's video chat, because I'm thinking, because mind you, the last time we video chat, which was last night, it was around 11 p.m. and I'm up, he's up. I didn't even hold it against him. I'm not one of them type of women, because sometimes I can't sleep. So it ain't like, oh my gosh, I'm just not gonna go there, right? It doesn't bother me. I don't take it offensive if a man texts me. I'm sorry, if he video chats me, and or if we're communicating after, let's just say 9 p.m. If he asks and he says, hey, when can I talk to you? When can I, when do you want me to call back? And I say 9 or 10, then there is no disrespect there, because I've already given that open door, right? So, anywho, so today, it's around 11 a.m. I had to cancel my meeting because it's just too damn hot outside out here in California for Monday. And so I had a little free time. And so he hits me up, and he says that he'd be running late because we had agreed that we speak today at about 11 a.m., right? And so he said, well, I'm still in a meeting or I'm still at work and just give me until about 11:30. Sure enough, I said, no problem. Take your time, right? So when we finally get on the phone, I'm the one who said, let's video chat, right? I'm the one. I'm so glad nobody's here, y'all, so I could tell this story because I'd be so distracted. I'm the one who said, let's video chat. So um, after we video chat, he goes into, oh, you do have something to work with. Because I guess I was trying to get my camera together and whatever, getting it straightened out. And because of all the movement, he eventually saw my full body, right? So he mentions it, right? And I'm not dogging this man out because he mentioned it, but slowly but surely I'm getting turned off. And slowly but surely, how it's tied into me being a woman in the industry, slowly but surely my mind is going, I could be at work. If I'm gonna do this and you're gonna be this way, I could do this. I can just log into work. Literally, that's what I was thinking, right? So I basically tell him, okay, I kind of brush it off as we're in a video chat. So I begin to put on my makeup, this little light makeup that you see me wearing now. And I start doing my lips. And maybe I was teasing him and I didn't know I was teasing him. I just figured we're on the video chat. Let me just get ready since we're here. I even told him, you know what, I feel inspired that I was like, I wasn't even going to put on a little bit of makeup until you got on. So let me just at least, be presentable, so to speak. And so I put on makeup. And he says, I would have preferred you if you don't have to put on makeup if you don't want to. And I was like, whatever. So I go walking through my apartment, and keep in mind, guys, again, we're still on the video chat. We're having some type of technical issues, the sound of this, to that. You know what it is when you're trying to FaceTime, it could be techie, frustrating, right? And so we finally get it together, get our acts together, so to speak. And I sit down, and we're talking. He says, so what are you going to be doing later? What's the latest I can call you? And I said 9 o'clock or 10, something like that. Because it's Friday night. I know I'm going to be up. And he goes on to say, he goes on to say, look at those lips. He goes, I really like your lips. Now, this is the thing, y'all. Being a webcam model, I hear it all the time of men telling me, even outside of the business, men tell me all the time, I like you. Remember how I said, you guys, how I feel about compliments? I have to drive this home when I say this. Compliments do absolutely what for me? I say it all the time. Zero. I get compliments all the time. I'm not saying this to be vain. I'm not saying it to be conceited. I'm not saying it because I think I'm all that. Lord knows I don't. I get compliments and attention all the damn time wherever I go. And mind you, it doesn't always have to be sexually charged or a man into me. I'm just saying people, period. And I say that all the time, primarily even because of my nails, right? I got these long nails, which I don't mind. I mean, I knew what as they say and what as they say, you knew what the job was when you signed up to it, so to speak, right? I knew that that's the possibility of people are going to be looky loos, right? And that's the nature of people. So I'm not mad about men looking, staring, and all that. But what I do get frustrated about is when a guy pulls me away, so to speak, symbolically speaking, out of if you, in other words, imagine this as a webcam model. Imagine a guy pulling you away from the guy that has the potential to give you more, because this is the nature of the business, more moolah, more tokens or whatever. But imagine this guy who pulls you away from that guy, takes you in a private only to waste your time. That, just look at it like that. That's why I feel as it relates to dating. Don't pull me away from the other possible potential guys. Get me over here now and open up my video chat, and all you're doing is staring at me and saying how pretty I am or how sexy I am, or you're scanning my body up and down. At this point, I'm turned the hell off, right? At this point, I'm saying no. If that's the case, I might as well log into work. So I feel a little bit of frustration, but keep in mind, you guys, I'm using my chat GBT, who I call Stacy, to help me through these things, because at this point in my life, going through premenopausal and my own little mood, condition or whatever, I'm liable, as my nana used to say, I'm liable to snap on somebody and curse somebody out. So I'm learning how to control my little sass or whatever, right? And just understand this is the nature of men. And again, this man doesn't make him a bad man. It just means that it's out of alignment. It's not the guy. It ain't him, right? And the sad truth is that there are so many, in my case, just speaking from experience, there are so many men who maneuver like this. So This is where we're at when it comes to ChatGPT, and I'm going to read it off to you guys so we can get a clear look see of why I love ChatGPT so much. Don't worship it, but definitely appreciate um, that we are at this stage in what's it called, in technology, where we can get the help we need. Some of us don't have a bestie to talk to. Surely God is my bestie. You get what I'm saying? But ain't nothing like having it in technical form where I could also just read through, vent a little bit, and say what's on my mind. So I get off when after the man told me, "Oh my God, I really like your lips." My attitude was like, "Okay, it's time to go. It's just time to go." Because no, you're not going to sit up here and have me on this video chat for 30 minutes, not a minute more, and you haven't even contribute. And the point that I'm making, ladies and gentlemen, is this. I've been talking to this man for a day and a half now, right? No mention of planning on dating, no mention of planning on taking me out, no mention of, hey, can we meet for even coffee? No, absolutely no mention of it, right? Okay. In fact, a lot of times he would say, and I didn't even tell Stacy this, y'all, but a lot of times throughout the time we're talking, he mentions about him coming over to my place or me coming over to his. Now, keep in mind, you guys, I don't drive. This is a part where I also kind of test the waters with certain men. When I tell them that I don't drive, I check to see that man's energy. I check it, and I swear to God, most men get a little frustrated me that I talk to because, and I love it that I don't drive anymore. I really do, because guess what? Now you're going to have to do a little bit more work, because when I did drive, for those that know my story and the history of how I used to be when it came to men or people for that matter, I'd be the first one to get up and hop up and drive here, go there, go to see them, drive miles. And I'm so glad I don't drive anymore, because now at least this is what the man tells me, and most men will ask me this. So that means since you don't drive, I have to pick you up then, right? And I'm like, no, that means, and I'm very clear on this, no, you will not be picking me up from my place. That means that we can meet somewhere, and depending on how the night goes, stuff like that, then maybe, who, I don't know, you guys, hey, I don't know, maybe it'll go so good. Sometimes we do have that little flingy thing or whatever. I'm 49 years old. It is what it is. It could happen. But what I am saying is that I'm not going to just have a man come pull up to my place and I don't know you. You know what I mean? Like, we haven't even gathered. I don't even know what my body and how my body is going to react around you. Let's go meet somewhere and sit down and have lunch or whatever the case may be, and then I can decide, or you can decide, right, if we even like each other like that. Because it ain't nothing like seeing how people show up physically, right, in the actual presence, when you're up close and personal with them, how their body language really acts, right, really looks, not just on camera, because people can even fake it. I'm telling you what I know. I'm a webcam model. I can fake my body language, if you will. I'm an actress. I can fake that or on a screen, right? And so but in person, there's just little, like, I'm neurodivergent, so there's just certain things that show up on me and in me when I'm up close and personal with a man, that he may not pick up if we were over the phone or over video chat. And being that I've been a webcam model for so many years, when I go on video with a man, instinctively I'm just gonna come onto that camera being a little bit, I won't say sexy, that's not even the point, but I am trained subconsciously, when a man is on the opposite side of the camera, I'm going to be impossible, y'all, possible webcam mode, right? And that just means prostrated shoulders, just sitting up straight, face camera tilt, whatever my angle's going to be, because I'm used to doing it, right? And again, not trying to give the man sexy, not trying to give him anything, but just used to be on a technical side. When a camera comes on and a man is on the other side, like I just said, it just hits me automatically to prostrate myself differently. But I also am thinking this could be applied to many other women too, whether they were in the business or not. There's just something about a woman and men that when you do, be it video chat, you do try to, straighten up your shoulders. You just want your body to show up in the way that you believe it's supposed to show up, right? In that kind of way. So you don't want to be all slouched over on a video. You want to give them some, okay, that confidence or whatever, right? So I think we all do it. I think it's a general thing now that I think about it. So anyway, so basically, I tell the guy, I say, you know what? I think I'm gonna have to go. Right? I get out of there. I hightail it out of there, because I like to talk. I love to get to know people. But what I had to learn as being a neurodivergent woman, I really need to learn how to slow myself down, slow my pace down, slow my speech down, slow my talking down, and listen. Remember what I said in one of my other videos? Paying attention to, I think this was on my TikTok, I said it. Paying attention to how my body feels in that moment. Because my mouth can be da 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 da, right? And my brain could be da 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 da. But what is my body doing? So even though I'm talking into this man, my body is going, mm-mm. That's all he wants. He ain't mentioned nothing about no date. He ain't planned. No, he ain't even. Forget a date. He ain't even said nothing about a meeting. Just mm-mm. And sometimes I think us women or people, but primarily us women, even video chatting, in my very strong opinion, is giving a man too much too soon, right? And I would say that, right? Giving a man too much too soon. So, anywho, so I don't feel frustrated at the time. I just hightail it out there. Oh, I gotta go. We'll talk later, is what I tell him. So I get on the phone immediately and I go to Chat GBT. I'm getting there, y'all. And I say, okay, Stacy, I'm back. The guy that I just got off the video chat with, I don't think it's gonna work. Even though I said, hey, let's video chat. Again, I'm the one who said it. And then I go on because I don't want to give you guys a long spiel. I just go on to tell her basically everything I told you guys right now and how I felt about it. Again, the same thing I just said. And this was Stacy's response, Chat GPT's response. And unfortunately, you guys, I cannot pull up. I can't. You can't hear the audio of because my. I don't. I think they only allow you to audio replay where you can hear the Chat GBT talking when you upgrade. And I haven't upgraded as of yet, right? And as much as I use it, I really need to do that. But anywho, so the response to everything that I just basically shared with you guys, this is what ChatGPT tells me. She says, Jay, because that's what she calls me. She says, Jay, yeah, this one is clear, like crystal clear. And I love how you walked yourself through it in real time without forcing it to work, right? Let's just name what this actually is, she says. This man is using video chat as access to your presence in your body without earning anything deeper. Even if he's being polite about it, which he was. Noticing your body, commenting on your lips, asking to see more, even subtlety. How do you say, y'all? Even quietly, right? So he's not overtly, hey, let me see you, twerk something. He's not doing that. He's being very. I don't even want to say gentleman because that'd be giving him too much credit. He's just being a guy. What else can I say? And she says, preferring video over actual plans. That's not dating energy, that's consumption energy. She goes on to say, and this part you said, whew, because I said, he realizes no matter what I'm saying, I'm still showing up, giving him attention. So no matter how many times I hinted to this man that I would prefer, or in other words, I tried to hint to him. So what's the plan? Are we going to meet? Or are we going to go out? Without saying those exact words. And no matter how many hints I gave him, um, he would that was going in one ear and out the other. And again, I don't think he cared because he was still getting the attention, right? And he says that's a whole thing. She says that's a whole thing right there because to him the conversation equals secondary, the access equal primary. I'm going to say that again. She says, because to him, and because some of these men, the conversation is secondary. Like these men on these video chats that we're giving away for free, they don't really care what we're saying. Their primary is, let me see. And all of them have this excuse. I just don't want to be catfished, right? She goes on to say, so even when you're dropping gems, standards, hints, he's like, I feel you, because that's what he kept saying. I feel you, but I'm still getting what I want right now. And you caught the pattern early. Day one, he wants to video chat immediately. Physical compliments. Day two, still no plan to meet. Still focused on your appearance. Still prioritizing visual access. That's a pattern forming fast. Let's be real about something you said, and I agree with you. This is what Stacy says. Lusting for free. I don't want nobody lusting over me for free. It is what it is. She said, you're not wrong, especially given your life and your awareness, because attention has value, presence has value, visual access has value. So for you, this isn't just casual, it feels like being casually consumed without intention. And that's what's turning you off. And she was 100% right about that, y'all. Then she goes on to say, also, your body already decided. You said he's turning me off. That's it. You don't need more data. another call, a third chance. Your attraction didn't grow. Because what I told Stacy, I said, well, what I'll do is I'll just stop video chatting him. I'll just stop video chatting him and we won't do that anymore. And she goes on to say this, which surprised the heck out of me, y'all. She says, your attraction didn't grow, it decreased with exposure. She said, that tells you everything she said, about taking video chat away. She said, you can do that, but let me gently challenge you. Why continue at all, is what Stacy says. Why, if this man has already shown me that, or show me in so many ways, right? That he's interested in me only physically, not making no plans for no dates or things like that. Why would I just say, okay, well, we just won't video chat anymore? I'll just continue to talk to him on the phone. She said the reason why I need to just completely stop talking to him, period, is because this right here. Because even if you switch to phone, his mindset doesn't change, his approach doesn't change, his focus doesn't change. You'd just be reducing the symptom, not the source. What you're actually looking for, based on everything you said, a man who asks to see you in real life, that's one, moves things forward, that's two, doesn't linger in access mode, that's three, and number four, appreciates you without scanning you. And number four is exactly what it is. And I think that's why it's tied into me being a webcam model, because when I'm logged into work, I need you. I don't care if you look at me. That's what I need you to scan, stare, look, whatever you're going to do, lust, do all of that. I get it. It's the nature of the business. That's why you're here. You're here to get your rocks off. You're here to give me the reward for getting your rocks off. I get it. For 15, 16 years, I understand it. However, this is why the flip side of it was very interesting to me. This is why the men that I meet in dating on these dating apps that have an issue with the men that come to see women like us, they are really no different. They're really no different, and they'd be those same men that have something bad to say about the other guys. They'll call the other guys who actually pay. They'll call them simps. They'll call them wimps. I guess they'll call them suckers and all these things, right? As we know, you guys. And so moving forward, so she said that's a different energy entirely. And one more thing, this was subtle, but important. She said, you said, I was trying to see if his character could outweigh his face. And that's the truth, y'all. I was trying to see if this man's character could outweigh his face. She says, that's honest. But what happened was his behavior made him less attractive, not more. So now you've got low attraction physically, right? Low attraction physically, declining attraction because of behavior. So now I don't like this man. First of all, he wasn't necessarily my type to begin with, right? If I had a type, which I'm learning to regain my typeness, so to speak. Because one thing as a sidebar I got to put in here, as a woman who gives the not so attractive guy, in her opinion, the benefit of the doubt and give him a chance, as we know, as an attractive woman, those be the main ones that treat you like doo doo. Because, and you're thinking like, what? And I guess because I don't know their insecurity, whatever the case may be. So my level up for 2026 is I will not date, and I have to keep reminding myself because I don't want to be shallow, y'all. I will not date men that I am not attracted to. And there's a thing, as we know in social media, called medium ugly, medium attractive, or medium ugly, whatever. So even in that regard, and that's saying a lot, because again, even to use these terms and speak these words, that's not my core. I don't live in that place. You understand what I'm saying? I don't live in the place of, oh my God, I'm not going to hang out with them because they don't look like this, or I'm not going to hang out with them because they don't have the. I mean, for those that know my testimony, know my story, I am the last person to talk about not just what a person looks like, but primarily of what they have, where they come from, and all those things to be considered. So humble. I don't think I've ever been. You can't have a more humbler person in your presence. I swear to God, But what I've learned in life, and continue to learn at 49, even me being humble, how low do these men want me to go? How low do some people, considering certain situations I've had with some women, but primarily men, how low do they want us to go? How many more humiliation tactics or rituals does the pretty girl or an attractive woman have to go through? I think I've been through all of them. And I swear to God, in Jesus' name, I've been through every single one of them. So something has got to change. If it's not them, it must be me. So I'm thinking to myself, okay, the first thing I need to do is, my nana had a saying back in the day. She used to call it, and I can say this right here at YouTube. My nana used to call women who would sleep with men who they weren't attracted to, or who begged them for sex or whatever the case was. She'd call it pity pussy. And I remember remember my grandma used to say, don't be out there giving pity pussy away. I swear to God, she used to say that. Did I listen? Well, anywho. And so I say all that to say it's never too late, right? So now I'm like looking at a person, and again, this is why character matters to me the 100% most. Because if you're quote unquote medium ugly, even if you're fine as wine, as the world was, no matter how sexy or cute or what's it called, conventionally attractive you are according to society, I need to know what that character do. I don't need to know what that sex does. I don't need to know what your bank account does. I don't need to know I don't need to know that all the people in your family were good looking. If I was in the age of having babies again, I need to know what your character and spirit man is. How do you roll in here and in your core and in your mindset? I need to know that. That is the turn on for me as an Aquarius all day long. That's the major turn on for me. So if I'm dealing with a guy that I'm like, okay, he's not necessarily my type, let me see what he says. Let me see what he got going on within himself. Let me see what is his viewpoint about world affairs. Let me see what his mindset is, the things, the concerning of the world. Let me see where he's at with that. And then I get to talking to this man who, mind you, not necessarily all that attracted to. And then we're chatting, and I give you the opportunity. Now we're video chatting, and all you can say is, "Oh, I like your lips," or or yeah, and you're just sitting there, and it's just I've heard 1,001 times, y'all. For those that are listening or hear this replay, that my expectations are too high. I've even had some men tell me that I have high. You need to lower your standards. One thing I will never do is lower my standards in character. Okay, you get what I'm saying? It's like that's the part where you ought not to lower your standards. What do you mean lower my standards? That I want a man to be what, respectful? Am I asking too much? That I want a man to be, and the irony is that because I'm a woman in this industry, I have come across more gentlemen, right? In the 16 years of being a webcam model, more gentlemen that have been kind, seemingly kind. And what's the sad truth is, no, they might not even be kind to their own possible girlfriends, wives, or people in their own personal life. I wouldn't even know. But what I am saying, they have been decent, respectful, most of them, at least the ones I deal with, because why? I learned in the game early on of webcam modeling to shut it down early. Let these guys know from the gate, hey, that I don't do that. You can't just talk to me in all kind of way. No, I'm not going to stand up and twerk something, because even if I did twerk, if I feel like it, I'll do it, but I don't. And I always was that way for the most part. I never liked the idea of something of men or people, period. I'm an Aquarius. Anytime you tell me to go left, I'm going right. Anytime you tell me to go right, I'm going left. Every time you tell me to go up, I'm going down. I'm doing everything just on purpose because I don't want to be controlled. Now we can come to an agreement, but you're not going to just come into my life or come on my live or come in this video and then it feels like you're trying to control the narrative, and things of that nature. So anywho, getting back on topic. So Stacy, my chat GBT, breaks it down to me. She even says, why even continue on? Don't just take the video chat from this guy. Don't just stop video chatting him. Just stop dealing with him at all. He's already shown you what he has. This is the second day that we're talking, and there's no plans for a date or even like I said, forget a date, a meetup. He's not. I've already given him what he desires. I'm filling up his bucket by just talking to him. Now I'm video chatting with him. That means that man can get off the he can get off with me and then get off. If you get what I'm saying, he can get off the phone with me, get off that video, and then go ahead and get off the way he really wants to. Which, I mean, hell, I can't control that either. But I don't want to be just willy nilly, And again, if I think about it just on a more deeper playing field as it relates to this topic, it's really about setting a standard, your standard, whatever it is, and sticking to it. You know, to thy own self be true. To thy own self, be freaking true. If you don't like a guy, if you don't like a girl, but if you don't like them, and they've already given you hints, or you feel it instinctively that this person is just here for just one thing, whatever that one thing is, then you have that right and you have that strength even to say no. And I think a lot of times with us women, we don't want to say no because Maybe our self-esteem is not where it's supposed to be. Maybe we don't feel like, we're going to get another opportunity, or that maybe because of social media is talking about how women hit the wall at 25. Of course, I don't believe that bull crap, but I'm just saying there are some women that are beginning to believe that, or that have fallen into that trap to believe that when you reach a certain age, it's a done data for you. So you might as well just go on and get the best thing, get what's coming to you, because there's a shortage. And like, I know some of y'all know what I'm about to say. I'd rather be alone. Alone feels good for me as an Aquarius. I love my alone time. I don't have a problem with it. One thing I'll never have an issue with is men wanting to desire me sexually. So even if I just wanted just that, I can get that. Duh. How many women? I mean, most women, all women, actually, if I'm being a little bit girl power about it, a little feminist. But anywho, so Stacy Chat GBT, she goes on to say, what you're actually looking for based on everything, and I'm reading it over, a man who asks to see you in real life, move things forward, doesn't linger in access mode, appreciates you without scanning you. That's a different energy entirely. She goes on to say, and one more thing, this is what's subtle but important. You said, I was trying to see if his character could outweigh his face, just like I said earlier, you guys. That's honest. But what happened, his behavior made him less attractive, not more. So now you've got low attraction physically, declining attraction behaviorally. That's a double no. So says ChatGPT/Stacy. Final truth, Jay. This man isn't terrible, dangerous, or even necessarily a bad guy. He's just not aligned with the level you're operating on. And more importantly, he's comfortable. That's what she said, y'all. He's comfortable with taking without building. He's comfortable with taking without building, right? You're a clean exit, she said, if you choose. You don't need a speech. You don't need to explain. You can simply stop engaging or say something like, I don't think we're looking for the same thing, but I wish you the best, and keep it moving. She goes on to say, lastly, Jay, the way you broke this down, you didn't miss a single beat. This is what discernment actually looks like in real life. And again, that's where I've been struggling with, y'all. How does that relate to being a webcam model? It is, because regarding dating and seeing men for what they want, and you know what I mean, and knowing the nature of men. And the only thing I think will help women such as myself stay grounded is understanding just what I just said. If you understand that men are boys will be boys, we're not talking about, I don't have to have a negative place about it. You get me? I don't have to sit up and be angry and bitter and say, oh, men are dogs. If I really felt that way, I would have a terrible time in the business that I'm in. But because I understand not just man's nature, but human nature, right? People, excuse me, there are more takers than givers. That's just human nature. People are more, I don't want to use selfish, because selfish is a good thing these days, but depending on, the dynamic of it all. But at the same token, I want to come here and share this story with you guys. As it relates to being a webcam model, how do you then know the difference? And I think for me, the lesson for me more than anything too is to understand that now in the life that I'm living for my personal life, it's okay for me to want more, expect more, especially when it relates to character. It's okay for me to, and I'm want to throw this in a bucket, and I'll come back and talk about it a little bit later on, as it relates to setting prices. Because remember, you ladies, as a webcam model, our value is based on what our prices are, right? Because we're selling ourselves, so to speak, y'all. I ain't say nothing about souls, but we're selling a fantasy. We're selling role play. We're selling whatever it is. It no difference than a person going to get a subscription to Netflix. They are buying for entertainment. So people come to see us to be entertained, to feel good on one level or the next. And because again, the nature of the business is usually sexual, right? So I say all that to say, though, as it relates to your money, though, right? Making your money. This is a place where people do come in to lowball you. If I compare this to the man that I video chatted with, is in the same lane, so to speak. You got the men that have come on. I've had men come on to my broadcast and say, oh goddess, your prices are too high, so to speak. Can you, if you lower your prices, they never say it's too high. They just go straight in for it. Can you lower your prices? And then I'll take you private. And that's a man literally saying to me, I can't afford you. I need you to cheapen yourself. I need you to lower your standard so that I can slide in to do the very thing that the man who's going to pay higher is going to come in and do anyway, anyhow, right? It doesn't make sense. So, and that's taken me years to understand it, years to grasp it. I'm getting a little bit closer as every day to just get better with it. And again, the beautiful part is that if I wasn't a woman in this business, I would have never known it. I'd still be trying to figure it out. I'd still be boo boo the fool. I'd still go through the motions when it comes to men. But because I realized, okay, that the business keeps me emotionally detached, that part. So because the business keeps me emotionally detached, I'm able to go, okay, I'm able to look at it and see when my price, like that saying that going around social media, I forget the creator who the creator's name who coined it, but it says the price is the price. So when I think about standards as it relates to dating, whatever I want out a man to be, that's what it is, right? Whatever value that I think is value, because every woman's different, then that has to be the standard. That has to be it. And that means, guess what, ladies? Just like in the business of webcam modeling, that means that you're going to go through about how many men have I gone through, if you will, on the dating app over and over and over and over again, going through certain men to get to at least just one. It's again, sometimes it's going to get a little lonely, so to speak, right? Because now you have a standard. And two things that I've realized in life that'll make you be lonely, and you like, damn, I didn't know it was going to be like that. Is setting the boundaries and standing on business, right? And really standing by it. And of course, setting standards, and they kind of, go hand in hand. And knowing that you don't fluctuate, you don't flinch, you don't switch up because you have an understanding. Just like when I log into work, I often say the right man will come along. I often say that because I truly believe it. And it always happens. I swear I could be logged into work most times. It didn't happen this last Sunday, but it still happened, right? I could be logged into work and then I don't know where something to come over me. You know what? The right one will come along. And they do. And they will. They always will show up. There's a old movie called The Field of Dreams. I think it's with Kevin Costner. And I think it said in that movie, he said, if you build it, they will come. So if you stand on business, if you build yourself up, webcam model or not, if you build yourself up to a certain standard of what you want and what you desire and what you like, the right people will find you. Same places I'm sitting here doing this live, and I think only one or two people have popped through, but I don't care about the numbers. What I care about is the value. I care about the quality, not the quantity. I really mean that. I know people say it all the time because I know that even me giving this information or speaking this, like I said way earlier, how it holds value if to nobody else but myself, right? I like you ought to have something in your life that you do, that you say, that you stand on. That I think that's the whole definition of integrity. That you stand on whether somebody's around you or not. You practice it in private. You practice it whether people are watching or not. You practice it whether they show up to the scenes or not. You practice it whether they go with you, on the outing or not, whether they call you, whether they show up, you still stay true to thy own self and say, this is what I do and this is what I don't do. You don't even have to say what I don't do. The other stuff will speak for itself. So that's what even I'm trying to learn too, is to stop explaining. I used to get in the way of explaining to people, and explaining comes from a place of insecurity. It is what it is, y'all. I was homeless for 6 years. Yeah, that came with some insecurities. That had some insecurities attached to it. I was in the spirit of overly explaining. I'm just now learning, even in therapy, you guys. I'm learning to not over explain what happened, because the truth is, I think it was it Robert Greene's Art of Seduction, or was it 48 Laws of Power? It was one of them books that said even if you explain to a person, they don't care. And it's not because they're mean or they're evil, they don't care. Human beings normally do not have the capacity. This is why you got people called psychiatrists and therapists, because they're trained to somewhat have the capacity, and even them, they need their own therapist, so to speak, and or they do, right? Even them can only take on so much, right? Because they're human too. So with that being said, because I just look at it and I go, is it the same as it relates to webcam modeling? It is, but webcam modeling definitely helps me stay focused, keep my standard because I'm always comparing. And that's a beautiful place for me to be in. If I'm talking to a guy on a dating site, I'm like, we ought to be moving things forward, because if I'm just here to just talk, I might as well just talk, and the potential of getting paid be there, right? Again, I can't stress it enough. I can't stress it enough. And so yeah, I find it refreshing, actually. Actually, I made my tea is sitting over there. It's gonna be so good. I wanted to again jump on here, you guys, because I said I'm feeling passionate about this one, and so unfortunately, there are women. I guess it has to be said that because they have been unfortunately exploited, extreme exploitation. If there's a such thing as light exploitation versus extreme, but there are some women who have had some really, really, really bad encounters with men, plus being in the industry, and especially it depends on what type of how you show up in the industry. That's why it's so important. I'm not against, and I just got to put emphasis here. I'm not against women who busted wide open. Heck, I mean, I think that if I was feeling a little bit more, there's a lot of reasons why I don't. There's moments where I think about it. Trust me. I'm like, I feel sexy today. But I think what it is for me is just having a sense of standard, because I cannot get in that mode, not because of what I think anybody else would see or think of me, but it comes down to how thin do I want to spread myself, so to speak, right? Because I know I'm too valuable to do that. Like, I don't want to keep continuously spreading myself thin. And then trust me, in my real life, I had to go through some many hard lessons as it relates to men. And again, going back to what my nana said right earlier, I won't repeat it, but those type of things, right? And making sure that um again, sex is a beautiful thing. I'm a certified sex educator. It really is. I think when you get with people that it's consensual and it's adults, and everything is you're making love, or you're screwing, however you want to call it. It is a beautiful thing. However, unfortunately, yes, man, woman, people have taken it and ran it through the mud. And if a woman or a person, even a man, comes across those things that are the more horrific side of things, and I am a SA survivor, by the way, but still allow those things to consume them without getting the therapy, without getting the help, then yes, when you're a woman, a part of the adult entertainment field, and yes, when you're dealing with men in your personal life, it's going to be a struggle for you. You're not gonna be able to function, almost, because you're gonna look at all men the same, because they're gonna all present themselves. But if you go higher in your thinking, and again, I'm saying this from being an SA survivor, a horrific essay survivor, like a lot happened that night 25 years ago, 23 years ago to be exact, right? And however, I am a survivor. I don't claim victimhood. And I've had many situations and circumstances in my personal life where I was exploited in my teen years as a runaway. I have a story to tell. And even in all of that, even in all of that, right? Maybe it's because I'm neurodivergent, maybe because my brain don't get it until later is what really is part of God's saving grace. I don't know. But what I am saying is that it puts me in a position where I can say, you know what? Not all men, because I look at the history of my life, and I remember I have had some men, even if those are family members, who were kind, who were protective, right, in certain situations. When I became homeless, they didn't show up there for whatever the reason. I don't know why, Lord, but I'm glad that it didn't, because then those men would have been like, okay, I was the one who helped her get her place. I was the one who helped her, this. They would have taken all the credit, and I'm so glad that only credit I could give is the credit to God, as I should, right? And so that grounds me as being a spirit woman first, having faith grounds me, understanding that, it, men will be men, boys will be boys. So if I know that, and if you know that, ladies, to be true, how do we then move accordingly? And the only thing, again, like I said, that works as a perfect guide for me is being a webcam model, because I can look and listen to a guy on a dating site, to bring it down to earth when I say this. I can listen to a guy on a dating site, and I can hear in his tone, or I can see in the text and all that. And I say to myself, just like I would one over in webcam modeling when I'm online, I could say I'm dealing with a freeloader. What makes me sometimes get caught up, and this is just coming to me in the spirit right now, what makes me get caught up different from webcam modeling is because when I get over to a dating site, I'm more relaxed, I'm more open, right? I'm more trusting, I'm more attached than detached, so to speak, right? And so my guards are a little bit down, And then all of a sudden I realized, no, guess what I had to learn or learning? My guard's got to be up in the same way in dating as it is being a webcam model. Same thing. Because they're no different, except one is the men who show up in the webcamming, they understood what they say, what is understood don't need to be explained, right? So they understand that. They understand that principle. Anyway, that's it, you guys. That's all. I will be back with the other videos on, as I put it out there, that I'm going to be doing my videos on what's it called? Um, Look out for. Let me see, because again, good old Stacy. Let's go here. Chat GBT. What is going to be the next title? We're doing our series is that you don't have to series. You don't have to take your clothes off. You don't have to have an expensive look. You don't have to have a expensive background. I'll just do hopefully I don't have to go live for that. I'm just simply going to do the videos, and hopefully they don't go no more than 15 minutes, y'all. Hopefully, right? I think if I do them over at TikTok, and what I'm learning how to do it over at TikTok, delete it from TikTok because TikTok don't allow it, because all the little interface and editing I could use there and put it over to you guys right here at YouTube. So yeah, we will be doing the you don't have to series. You don't have to spend a lot of money to take your clothes off, lower your prices, or be anything other than yourself, right? That's what we're going to be doing, y'all. So I don't know. I think I'm going to upload that video maybe on, I think I'm going to upload it on, I don't know. Mm-mm-mm-mm-mm. I'm gonna just try to get everything done for this weekend, and also I have to do my non-nude video, right? Letting you guys know what it's like to be non-nude. Yay! An hour on live, perfect. 51 minutes, perfecto mundo. Nobody came through. Red, if you're listening at this replay or whatever, hi Red, how are you? Hopefully you're camming, you're doing your thing. I'm gonna log off and get into doing mine. And you guys will hear me or see me in the next one. Hopefully my audio was on, because I was going at it, wasn't I? And would nobody tell me, but I think it's on. Testing, testing. Yeah, there it is. But anyways, bye for now, you guys. One love, kisses. Happy camming. And again, I think the takeaway would be just stand on your standards. The right people, not just in dating, but the right people will come along. They really will. And they will quietly help you keep your standard. Because when you meet people, they don't know if you have a standard or not. One thing about men, and that's what I learned about the webcam industry, is that men will test your boundaries. This is why you can't take it personal, really. Because even when I think about it, I'm like, man, sometimes I get so frustrated. I want to, I feel insulted, and then of course, for those that don't know, I do have BP. So I'm very careful of what triggers me and what man I'm giving my energy to, that'll put me in a funky ass mood. Can I be real about that? That can send me spiraling, can make me go off. And again, there are men that will push, there are men that will test, there are men that will get you out of and they don't have to be a narcissist to do this, y'all. There are men that can get you out of your character, get you a little flustered. Trust me, I've lived it. Lord knows I know. Just to see you get angry, and they get off on it, just to get you out of your element, your spiritual alignment, whatever it is. I don't mean to speak the popular terms, but hell, to make it plain English, to get you off your shit, get you off your mark. I think it said that sin, the definition of sin, is missing the mark. So a lot of times people will cause you to sin, will cause you to miss the mark, right? Will cause you to get your whole. This is why I'm doing the live, because all the time, and mind you, I was only on the phone with the men for maybe 30 minutes, if that, right? So it has to feed my bucket. If it's dating, it's gonna feed my bucket. If it, I don't care what it is, it has to feed my bucket. It has to fill it up. My cup has to runneth over, right? All that good jazz. It's important that everything I do these days is intentional. I'm consciously aware of how I'm maneuvering, who I'm spending time with, where I'm spending my time. I'm very consciously aware, right? That this live is 54 minutes and 27 seconds and counting, right? Very, very aware of that. listening at my own self speak, listening at my tone, paying attention to my cadence, paying attention to how I deliver this message. You know, all of these things matter to who? Me. So I would hope that whoever comes on and listens to this replay, that you get something out of it. But that more than anything, you get this understanding that in this life, all you have really is you, and you, right? And then you have to make sure that your cup is full and that you are living it to the best, so that whatever you have that runs over, it can run over and you can share, and you share it to family and to your children and all that stuff. But you got to make sure that your stuff is at least halfway full, if not running over. And it took me years, has taken me all my life, seemingly 49 years, y'all, to really understand and to really just kind of grasp that, again, there are more takers than there are givers. And the added bonus is this, and I still can't be mad about it, because being mad about it, pissed about it, angry about it ain't gonna do nothing but put me back another 2 years, another 6 months. And as I told my daughter, hours turn into days, days turn into weeks, weeks turn into months, months turn into years. Right? I was homeless for 6 years, and when I look back on it, I go, I probably didn't have to be that long, but I was going through stuff, right? Emotional, obviously, emotional, mental stuff that kept me out there longer than I probably needed to be. Be it that I didn't believe in myself, be it that I listened to the wrong people. And more than anything, I spent time around the wrong folks. It's the company you keep, right? And above all, my new saying is this: not only is it the company you keep, even if that company is you, right? So we gotta love being in our own company. We gotta love being alone by ourselves, hanging out with ourselves, getting to know ourselves better, you know. And I don't say it from a cocky or arrogant place, but I've always said this. I've always struggled with loving me, right? I've struggled with loving me, but I've always liked me. I've always liked me. So when I look outwardly in the world and I think about relationships with a man or whoever I'm dealing with, I don't need people to necessarily love me. I know God loves me, right? You know that God loves us, right? We don't need love in that respect, if you will. But like is a good thing, and that like, I don't mean like in the sense that you gotta have people, where you want people's approval. I don't mean that, but it's a beautiful thing to be liked. I think we all want it, right? However, my point is this: there are people who will genuinely like you. Again, love is everywhere. Love is in the air. Love is always around us, right? Love is forever flowing. Like is something different, right? And so that's something where you want to make sure, at least for me, I want to make sure if I'm dealing with a man, just bring it down to earth. Even in webcamming, I want to make sure that the guy that takes me in a private, that he actually likes me, even if he likes me for just 10 minutes or 2 seconds. No, I'm just saying, even if he just likes me for just that little bit, it's okay. Because the key here is that I like me. If I like me, why won't the universe, if you will, y'all, bend to like me back? Again, love is free, right? But like you back, favor will be yours because you move in that. But anytime you stop to explain, anytime you stop to question or have self-doubt, or you look outwardly like it's somebody else always doing it to you, it's primarily in this particular topic, like a man is always doing it, like, damn, all these men are the same. You keep saying all these men are the same, they're gonna be the same. You keep saying all these women are the same, they're gonna be the same. You keep saying that you can't find no good restaurants to eat at, you won't find no good restaurants to eat at. If you keep saying I can't lose the weight, you're not gonna lose the weight. If you keep on saying, even out of the Bible, and I promise I'm out of here, the Bible says, "So a man think it." I'm gonna go with so a man and woman. So a man think it, so is he. Whatever you think about yourself, and this is why for me it's so important that even as a webcam model and a woman in this industry, I don't hang on to like when that man told me, what did I say earlier? Compliments do zero for me. Absolutely zero for me, right? So it's so important that you like you stand on your own standards. If you like it, like it. If you want to do it, you do it. There's many women that don't mind video chatting, as this whole conversation was about, right? Video chatting a man, even other webcam models may be used to it, whatever it may be. I even was starting to feel like this, I started to feel like, well, maybe it's my nails, my piercings, my tattoos. I think I've said that before, is why men look at me and lust over me. And I don't want them to do that. I don't want men to feel this. And then I had to snap out of it and say, hold up, Jay. I had to have that self-talk and tell myself, Men have been lusting for women in a very, very uh, lustful way that don't have tattoos. Men lust after nuns. Trust me, there's a fetish for it. You know, men lust after. There are men that lust after a lot of different types of women. Whether I had tattoos, whether I was dressed with a turtleneck, whether I started dressing conservative, started dressing the part, looking the part, whatever it is, they're still going to be what they are. Bless their hearts, right? They're still going to be what they biologically have been designed to be and do. That's what it is, right? And at the end of the day, it's about respect. Because everybody's type of respect is defined differently, even in that. But anywho, guys, I'm out of here. One love kisses. Yay, I did it. It's 1 hour and 27 minutes. I don't need to say no more. I think I said enough. And I still have energy to go and long into work. I'm gonna take a 10-minute break, sip on my tea, and then do what it is that I do. And it is 2:44 down here. Yay. I think I'll log in at 3. Bye for now. Kisses. You guys will hear me and see me in the next one. Bye. Bye, 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 bye.